Welcome to this excursion into the protel world. In this tutorial, I'd like to introduce the room plan and show you how to make room reservations quickly and easily. This is probably the simplest and most convenient reservation method for smaller hotels. The fastest way to open the room plan is by pressing the F3 function key or by clicking the toolbar button. Now this is our room plan. At a glance we can see which rooms are still available and when and for how long a particular guest reserved a room. First, let me show you the basic structure of the room plan. It consists of the top time bar, the room list, the reservation area and the bottom time bar. Before we take a closer look at these areas, let me show you how you can set up the display. When looking at the room plan, we can use the zoom feature in the upper right-hand corner to make the room plan bigger or smaller, just as needed. We use the time bars to select the time period we need. When opened, the room plan shows today's date and the next several days. Today's date is easy to identify because it's highlighted green. The first column in the table header tells us what time period is displayed. In our example, the chart is displaying the month of February 2008. At the bottom edge of the window, we find the so-called month tabs. By clicking on, say, the September tab, I can navigate to a future date. The upper left-hand corner of the window confirms that we are now in September. However, by clicking the Today tab, we can return to today's date just as quickly. Once again, this is the green date, today's date. Of course, we can also navigate only a few days or weeks ahead in time. Click on a particular date and protel will display the time period beginning with this selected date. We can navigate just as easily back in time. Clicks on the first entry move the time bar back one day at a time. I now click the Today tab to return to today's view. On the left-hand side of the screen, the room list shows us all the rooms in our hotel. The first column names room number, room type, and a room's current status. For example, a red dot means this room is still dirty, while a green dot means the room is clean. For more detailed information about a room, I just have to click the room number. This room with a green dot and a check mark is a clean and checked room. Oh, I see that room 206 is still out of service. Why? Let's see. That's right, the TV still needs to be replaced. By the way, I could still reserve the room if I wanted. This is not the case with a room marking like this one. This room is out of order. It is blocked and cannot be reserved during this time. To find out why it's blocked, let's right-click on the marking. Oh yes, the windows have to be repaired. The reservation area tells us which rooms are available, which rooms are assigned, and who they are assigned to. Have you noticed the tiny windows that pop up when I move the mouse within the room plan? These are tooltips. They provide a short summary about the room and the reservation. If you'd like more details, simply activate the tooltip checkbox in the top left-hand corner, and you'll get enhanced tooltips with additional information. All the markings you see here are color-coded. Green, as in this case, means this is a group reservation. A white marking is an optional reservation, while gray markings, and there are quite a few of them here, are confirmed individual reservations. A reservation with a pink font is an allocation reservation, while blue font means that this room has been firmly assigned. Now here's something peculiar. This marking here ends with an arrow and a room number. What does it mean? This means the guest will be changing rooms during his stay. Once room 208 is fully renovated and no longer blocked, Mr. Falloon can switch to his favorite room. He will then move from room 309 to room 208. Do you see? This here is in the second half of Mr. Falloon's reservation. By the way, to enter such a move in the room plan is not hard at all. I'll later show you how to perform one. But first, I'll show you how easy it is to reserve a room using the room plan. First, let's assume that Mrs. Jane Pate, one of our regulars, calls and says she's coming to our hotel on short notice. She asks us to reserve a standard twin room from today to the 7th of February for her. Since our guest wants to check into her room today, I need to find a clean and checked room. The fastest way to do this is to let Protel display only those standard twin rooms that have already been checked. To do this, I click the Filter button in the upper left-hand corner, and then I select Standard Twin Room as a room type and Checked as the status. Now this is a very useful feature, especially for larger hotels. As you can see, you can combine several filters to adapt the room plan precisely to your current needs. Now I click OK to confirm my selection, and now the room plan only displays standard twin rooms that have been checked. This way, the selection of a suitable room is much easier. By the way, have you noticed that the cursor turns into a pencil when I move the mouse to the reservation area? Now I place this pencil on the arrival date next to the chosen room, press the left mouse key and drag it to the departure date. And then I release the key and Protel shows us the selected time period as a gray marking. To continue working on the reservation, I simply press Enter. We continue in the reservation dialog shown here. Now, we enter the data for the reservation. I'll start with the guest's name. Once I exit the field, Protel searches our guest database and tells us that it already contains a guest profile with this name. I double-click the entry of Mrs. Jane Pate to select her guest profile. To be sure, Protel reminds us that Mrs. Pate is a regular guest. I confirm this message and return to the reservation dialog. Protel has already inserted the guest's name and shows us the reservation data that I previously selected with the mouse. Now I can enter details on our reservation in the lower portion of the window. I can enter details on the market and, for instance, on the source. By the way, each hotel can decide individually which fields should be mandatory. So that's enough for now. I click OK to confirm the reservation. Mrs. Pate's new reservation is now shown in the room plan. To make sure we see the entire room plan for the next reservation, I'll close and reopen the room plan. Now, at the beginning, I promised to show you how to enter a move in the room plan. We'll begin by moving a complete reservation, which is often necessary to optimize room occupancy. To do this, I simply place the cursor on the marking, press the Ctrl key and drag the entire reservation to another location in the room plan. In some cases, a guest may want or need to move from one room to another during his or her stay. This can also be done easily in Protel. Let's assume that Mrs. Catherine Hall here wants to upgrade her room after a few days, since her husband will be joining her then. No problem. I simply place the cursor on the desired relocation date in the reservation, press the left mouse key, and then drag the mouse to the row of the room that the guest wishes to move to. Protel now asks us whether the rate should be recalculated. To confirm, I click Yes. Now do you see? Finished. By the way, we can undo a move just as quickly too. Simply select one part with the mouse, hold down the Control key and recombine the reservation. We're now ready to welcome our guests. But we still have a lot left to do, as always. Join me in one of the other tutorials to see how we can perform an end-of-day process in Protel. For now, thanks, and hope to see you again next time.